Good morning, everybody from Madrid office. Hope everything is well and good in Asia. I have here Diego with me, and we are actually in the AFCO office in Kyle Velasquez, which is actually in Barrio Salamanca.
Hello, everyone. Good morning.
Tell us a little bit, how's the weather? It's been cold, right?
Well, now it's starting to be a bit cold, but it has been really nice until now, until last week. So it has been really pleasant, really mild. But now, of course, Christmas is coming, and with the winter weather, you expect in Madrid to be a little bit colder. So yes, now temperatures are going down a little bit, just a little bit.
So thank you for joining us. Today, we actually, just to introduce myself, my name is Jamie. I am actually heading Intergentium Asia to help our clients to look at the best residency programs between Portugal and Spain. We specialize actually in Portugal and Spain, and today we're very thankful that we actually have Antonio Vinhal, who is actually representing AFCO Legal in Portugal. And we also have Diego Vinhal, who's also representing AFCO Legal in Madrid. And we'll be having an interesting conversation because I think of late, there has also been a lot of talks about what's happening to the Portuguese Golden Visa program. You know, should we be looking at other alternatives? Because there's also been a lot of changes and to what's happening right now to some of the programs all around the world. And I think a lot of people were very excited about wanting to find out, you know, exactly what's happening. But I'm really happy that we are here. I apologize for a little bit of the connectivity, but I'm here in Madrid and have been here actually in Spain and also in Portugal for the last few weeks, doing some due diligence on some of our projects and also looking at some of the new potential opportunities for our clients, checking out also the climate in terms of what's happening. And so, yeah, it has actually been great. We'll just wait for another minute and then I think we will get started with the webinar itself. Today in Malaysia as well, I think we have some delays of people logging in because also we're having the election. So some of you, thank you so much for joining us from Malaysia. Despite the fact that I understand also that you have, you know, some of you are actually voting in the respective different states or province and so on. So thank you so much for joining us. Okay, without further ado, hola from Spain. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today from Manila, from Jakarta, and also from Kuala Lumpur, or also various parts of Malaysia. My name is Jamie. I'm actually managing Intergentium Asia, which is an affiliated company to our Intergentium in Spain. Basically, we help our clients with investments and we specialize only in Portugal and Spain. And we've had many successes with a lot of our applications, not only in terms of the investment, but also working with our exclusive legal partners, AFCO Legal itself. So just a little bit, a brief background itself. I myself am actually a Portuguese Golden Visa holder. I'm actually already in my final year or my 5th year. And Antonio Vinhal is actually my lawyer originally, who was handling my application, and has been an excellent process. And I'm actually very happy with the investments and so on. However, due to also some of the demands and also changes, one of our clients have actually requested for us to also talk more about the differences between the Spanish and also the Portuguese Golden Visa, because especially for our clients from Philippines, the Spanish Golden Visa can be a very attractive program due to them being an ex-colony of Spain. They do have special privileges, and that's why our team is also here to help you. So moving forward, I also wanted to share with you my experiences, just a brief introduction of why I decided to do the Portuguese Golden Visa. I think one of the main reasons why we looked at having an alternative residency is, I think in today's very unpredictable world, which I'm sure most of you will actually agree with me, we don't really know what will happen, you know, whether we'll have, hopefully, God forbid, another COVID, or whether we have a geopolitical situation, or we have seen how great nations have fallen, and how we have seen that many changes that's been taking place that sometimes that we cannot, that we can't control. But having an alternative residency, I think it's very important as a plan B. But even more so, I think for the children, I wanted to have an alternative residency so that they can actually have an option to live, work, or even study in Europe. So primarily, that was also one of the biggest considerations for me. The other thing was also, I wanted the option actually to also have access to good healthcare. I think during COVID as well, it was important for people were looking at the healthcare, and it was actually very important that people wanted to have access to good healthcare. So all these considerations actually made me decide to actually embark on the Portuguese Golden Visa program to give us this access. I'm going to now introduce the company. Antonio, if you don't mind moving on to the next slide, just a little bit about the team. So in terms of the people in the team, what I wanted to also share is because from my experience, I also realized that it was necessary, and I think it's very important. I have several clients who have actually told me, so Jamie, what happens, right, if I've got this investment, who manages it for me? What do? I was at that point that I was going to sign or get the keys, and then I realized that, I couldn't, I didn't know how to manage it. So I think that's where we actually come in. Our team is actually here, and we have our presence not only in Asia, but our office in Spain and also in Portugal, to help you to manage your property and your whole journey throughout your Golden Visa. And for me, actually, more importantly, my purpose of being involved in the business to also build a community of Portuguese Golden Visa holders, and also most recently, the Spanish Golden Visa holder. Our company is led by myself, as well as Derek, who helps also some of the developers sometimes who are interested in prospecting for buildings and being in project management itself. He also has the expertise to actually help our clients sometimes to start hotels or build buildings and do developments and so on. The next few slides I'll just go through very quickly. Antonio, we also have the people in our team that is based in Portugal and Spain, which is very unique as well. I always say that we are not, real estate agents. We are residency consultants, specialized residency consultants for Portugal and Spain. We have here today, as you can see, Tomaso, who actually hits Spain, and he helps us with our clients, with their needs, finding the best solutions for the investments in different parts of Spain, helping them to manage their properties. We also have Pablo, who's based in Portugal, but unfortunately he couldn't join us today because he's on vacation. And of course, Sarah as well, who is our licensed real estate partner in Portugal and Spain. The next slide as well to show you the team. In terms of client servicing, we also have these are our support team who will be helping you to journey to make sure that everything goes through smoothly. Moving on to the next slide, I also wanted to share with you that one of the most important elements of our proposals to our clients are also the fact that AFCO Legal, who are my own lawyers, have given me a good experience, and that's why we wanted to help them basically and work together as partners to also give that same treatment, and also and help us basically with our clients and community grow for Portugal and Spain. And I'm very thankful to Antonio and also to Diego to be very supportive, and of course not forgetting that they also have the office in Kuala Lumpur, which will be able to help us also with a lot of the work that's being done in Asia. And moving forward also, I think because of the teamwork, because I feel as well that also that's very important. Being a Portuguese golden visa holder myself, the elements of having a residency program, especially for golden visa, it's actually a very important teamwork. It is a combination and strong combination between the investments, the management, and also the residence permit, because there are also processes, renewal processes, and also the maintenance of the property. So that's also what differentiates us, because we are there to be for you throughout your entire duration, right up to whether you get your PR or citizenship. And as I mentioned, we have actually more than close to almost 200 clients for both Portugal and Spain for this purpose. Moving forward, I will now also pass over to, before I pass over to Antonio, this is also a video on AFCO legal. And I think, Antonio, you probably have to stop share and share again to be able to have the sound and to show the video of AFCO. Thank you. I will leave it now to Antonio to actually share with you what is the golden visa again, and also the differences and the comparison between the Portuguese and the Spanish golden visa.
Thank you, Jamie. Thank you for introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. Very happy to have you all on board for this webinar and learning session about the differences in the golden visa programs between Spain and Portugal. So as you all know, golden visa is an easy program that will enable investors to hold a residency title. This is a residency by investment program in both Spain and Portugal. One of the great things that the programs in both countries allows for is that the investor may sponsor family members, and this includes spouse or partner, children under legal age, and over legal age if they are still financially dependent. And this also includes parents and, in Portugal's case, also the in-laws. The duration of the visa, not really a visa. Visa, I think, golden visa is just a catchphrase. If essentially what you're getting is a temporary residency card. And for Spain, the first card is good for 1 year, then it's valid upon renewal for 2 years, and then you can keep renewing it every 5 years. So it almost works like a permanent residency card. In Portugal, each card is good for 2 years. And of course, the question is, do I need to physically stay in Spain or in Portugal? So for the Spanish case, no, there is no minimum stay, so you can renew without even spending any time. And for Portugal, you do need to spend at least 14 days in every 2-year period. So you can spend those 14 days in one go or break it up during each 2-year period. Now, you can apply for citizenship once you fulfill your years, minimum years of residency. So for Spain, yes, you can apply for citizenship, and Filipino citizens just need to prove 2 years of residency, and out of which essentially you need to spend 6 months effectively in each year. So during 2 years, 6 months out of each year, you would need to spend in Spain. You cannot surpass 3 consecutive months away from Spain at a time. And then, yes, you get full dual citizenship. Other nationalities, such as Malaysia and Indonesia, and a 10 years is required, 10-year period. For Portugal, any nationality, 5 years is the minimum which is required. So again, whether you're from the Philippines, Indonesia, or Malaysia, that's just 5 years. And yes, you get full dual citizenship. Okay. And in Portugal, you're counting not time spent, but being a valid residency holder. So from the Portuguese perspective, you only need to spend those 14 days every 2 years of effective residence. In terms of the actual benefits, being a citizen of either country, you have an array of advantages. And this includes, of course, full freedom of movement within the Schengen area, to live, work, study in any EU member country, lower university fees. So this is something which can be, of course, very relevant for the children, big savings on university fees, no minimum stay requirement to maintain citizenship. So once you become a citizen, that's it. And then, of course, family reunification becomes a lot easier. Will I be considered a tax resident in either Spain or Portugal once I become a citizen? No, that is not the case. You would have to fulfill specific criteria to become a tax resident in either country. The general rule is that if you spend more than 183 days in a year, then yes, you would become tax resident. If not, then you will not. So must they take an exam to get citizenship? Yes. In Spanish case, there's a language test. And then there's also an easy test on constitution, history, etc. And for the Portuguese case, there's also a language test. Again, this is very basic knowledge of either Spanish or Portuguese. What are the requirements for Spain? How do you embark on the Spanish Golden Visa program? Well, there are 3 entry points. The most popular one by far would be purchase of property. And the threshold is at 500,000, so free of any encumbrances, and that gets you in. Then you can also invest 1 million euro in either shares or deposit this amount in a bank, or you can also embark on an investment project. There is no minimum for this investment project. It will be assessed on a variety of merits, such as location, job creation, technology that might be used, relevance for a Spanish economy, and so forth. But there is no minimum investment. Again, however, real estate is by far the preferred option. For Portugal, we have a wider range. Nevertheless, I would also stress the fact that the real estate option is also by far the most preferred option of all. And I would direct your attention to paragraphs E and F. So E is purchase of property, minimum of 500,000 euro. Again, the first 500,000 must be free of any encumbrances. And then also a purchase of property when there's a renovation project. So the cost of the property plus the cost of renovation should reach 350,000 euro. It cannot be any property. It has to be located in specific urban renewal areas as approved by the relevant council. or if the building is more than 30 years old. So either condition would qualify for the purpose of the program. And then I would say number 3, in terms of popularity, would be paragraph B, investment of 500,000 in capital risk funds. Now I have these 2 maps right here, and the reason these maps are here are due to the conditions that were introduced in the Golden Visa program from January 2022. So if you look first at the green map, white and green map, in the white areas, you can only purchase commercial property. And so only commercial property will qualify you for the Golden Visa program. This includes, of course, Lisbon, this includes Porto, this includes most of the Algarve. So what qualifies as commercial? Office space, retail shops, investment in hotels units that many developers create those kind of packages, touristic apartments, all of that qualifies as commercial. And once again, only in the green areas could you also buy residential, and residential will qualify for Golden Visa. In the pink and white map, the pink shaded areas are those areas where you get a 20% discount on the investment threshold. So the 500,000 option becomes 400,000, and the 280 and the 350,000 option, becomes 280,000. So as you can see, the pink and green areas overlap to some extent, but they are not exactly the same. Okay, so as you can see in the Algarve, you can buy residential only in very specific areas. Nevertheless, you will get the 20% discount in all of the Algarve. Possible property investments, again, that will qualify, bearing in mind, of course, in Portugal, that difference between commercial and residential. We have holiday homes, residential apartments, vineyards, olive groves. You can also purchase land, buildings for refurbishment, commercial property, hotels, and so forth. When I say hotels, not only the full hotel, but of course, a participation in a hotel project. In terms of procedures, both countries are very similar. So it all begins with obtaining a tax number. This is relevant for the purchase of the property. It's relevant for the opening of the bank account. Of course, having a valid bank account is very central to both Golden Visa programs. Then you would either sign a promissory sale and purchase agreement, or you can go straight to deed. The difference is promissory sale and purchase agreement, as its name suggests, lays down terms and conditions, but you will not become the owner at that point. You only become the owner once you sign the deed. The deed is the actual sale contract, which is signed in both countries before a public notary, and that will reflect your ownership. And then the deed is lodged both with the land registry and the tax office, and that will show also your ownership. Hotspots, if we look at Spain, of course, Madrid, Barcelona, major cities are always in everyone's minds. Then, of course, Mediterranean, very favored by EU and non-EU buyers, especially places like Marbella and Alicante down south. Canary Islands, we have wonderful weather all year round. And if we look at Lisbon, well, of course, if we look at Portugal, we have Lisbon, we have Porto, main cities. Then near Lisbon, 30 kilometers away, the whole Cascais and Estoril area, very beautiful and favored by expats as well. Then down south in the Algarve. But also, as we were looking at those pink and green areas in the maps I showed just earlier, places like Alcácer, Comporta, which has become a very coveted destination for celebrities, and also the historic World Heritage City of Évora do qualify for the discount. the pink areas and do qualify for the residential, the green areas. When buying a property, we need to be mindful of taxes. There's transfer tax, stamp duty. So we have in Spain, it will depend on the region. So I can only give you a bracket, because depending on if you're buying Barcelona, it's going to be one thing. If you're buying Madrid, it's going to be 6%. If you're going to buy in Marbella, it's on a sliding scale depending on cost of the property. So again, I can only give you an estimation of what the brackets would look like. Portugal, residential is also on a sliding scale, so it depends on the cost of the property itself. Commercial is always fixed, nevertheless, 6.5%. Other taxes to bear in mind, such as wealth tax. Spain does have wealth tax, but nevertheless, if you buy in Madrid, for instance, you do not need to be concerned with this because there's 100% relief on wealth tax. There's no wealth tax in Portugal. Gift and inheritance tax, well, it does exist in Spain, but again, in places like Madrid, you get 99% relief, and there is no gift and inheritance tax in Portugal. Now, in Spain, personal income tax, let's take a look at that. Let's say, of course, you want to make some money on your investment. So for non-residents, as will be the case for most of you, so we take a look at the right-hand column, non-EU resident. So if you lease your property, you will be paying 24% on that lease income that you make. If you decide not to lease the property, then there will be a small amount to be charged annually, simply because you hold that property. So it's there's an estimation, an assessment made by the tax office, and it's a 24% that's calculated on a small percentage of the rateable value or taxable value of the property. So this is a low amount, which nevertheless would be paid. If you do become a tax resident in Spain, then the lease income will be rolled into your total amount of income, and rates will depend on which region you are resident of. Again, non-lease property, if you decide not to lease that property, you will be charged with a small amount. And if at the end of the line, you decide to to sell your property, then capital gains will be on a sliding scale. So from 19% up to a maximum of 26%. That will be the rates that apply to capital gains. For Portugal, it's very straightforward. If you become a non-resident, then long-term lease rate is 28%. Nevertheless, if you decide to go for short-term lease, this equates to, let's say, Airbnb style, then you can benefit of a much lower rate, 12.5%, and capital gains is 28%. Nevertheless, for both countries, Spain and Portugal, I would like to highlight that if you do become a resident in either country, and if that home that you buy is your main home, your place of residence, and you decide to sell that, and with those proceeds, with the result, the capital gains, and not only the capital gains, but the full amount that you have obtained from your sale, and you invested in another property anywhere within the EU, you will not be charged any capital gains. So that's just something to bear in mind, and one of the benefits, again, of being an EU resident. So now, very briefly, I will highlight some of the differences between Spain and Portugal. And of course, at AFCO Legal, we do both programs, so we're not biased. We just want our clients to make an informed decision. So that's why we produce this little newsletter, which we can also share, of course, and just highlighting some of the some of the most relevant questions. So number one, which country is the quickest in clearing an application? In Portugal, we have two phases. One is online and the other one is physical. And there's a submission of documents in both phases, the online and physical. And depending on the office where we actually submit phase two, it can take 4 to 9 months. Overall, it could take anywhere from, I don't know, 8 months to maybe 10 or 12. Whereas in Spain, yes, the single application is enough. So it's not two phases, just the one phase, and it is cleared in around 1 month. So in this case, if we look just at which country is quicker, then Spain is the winner. Which application is cheaper? So this is based on government fees. So if we look at government fees, then, well, this is Portugal per person. Over the 3 cards, remember, we're looking at 3 cards, 2 plus 2 plus 2. So there is an initial processing fee of 539.66. This is times 3, 1 for each card, right? And then we have the issuing fee for your first card, 5,391. And then per renewal, 2,600, almost 2,700. And this is 2 renewals. So we're looking at a total of 12,400. This is per person, okay? So main applicant and or any family member. In Spain, then, well, the initial visa cost and the residency card and renewal. So as you can see, it's a very low figure, 210. So again, of course, this in both situations is per applicant or per family member. So just based on government fees itself, Spain is the clear winner. Based on investment threshold, as we've seen, Portugal has the real estate option that starts at 280,000 euro. Spain had, for real estate, it is 500,000. And then we have the business project, which there is no minimum, but again, projects need to be assessed positively in terms of certain criteria. Now, so for the investment threshold criteria or criterion, the winner here is clearly Portugal. How many renewals? As mentioned, Portugal is 1 initial application and 2 renewals, each card good for 2 years. Spain, you have your golden visa, which is valid for 1 year. Then that first renewal then is good for 2 years, and then 5 years, every 5 years. So I would say, well, in terms of ease of these renewals, then there would be a tie, but perhaps slight edge over Spain because of the longer residency periods. So the 5 years over 3 applications. Which country has the lowest minimum stay requirement? We saw this earlier on the presentation. So Portugal, to renew your card, the applicant and family members must spend at least 14 days in every 2-year period. In Spain, there is no minimum stay. There's just 1 quick trip to apply for renewal. That's just enough. So based on minimum stay requirement, looking at renewal, then the winner would be Spain. But if we look at what is my end goal, let's say permanent residency, which country is better? So this has to do with time spent. So Portugal, if you want to reach PR status over the 5 years, because you can apply for permanent residency after 5 years, over those 5 years, you will have spent 35 days, right? We've looked at 14 days every 2-year period, so 35 days before we can lodge our application. Now, for Spain, if our goal is not simply to renew our TR, but get to PR, then we cannot be away from Spain for more than 10 months overall in that 5-year period, or 12 months overall if due to business reasons. So let's say we have business abroad. So Portugal would be the winner based on this criterion. Based on government fees, so these are fees for permanent residency. As you can see, Portugal has a rather high figure of 7,500 euro. These are for again, government fees that you will have to pay the Portuguese government upon receipt of your PR card. And then for each renewal, and this is every 5 years, it's 3,700. Okay. So in Spain, as you can see, it's an extremely low figure of 21 euro. Okay. And again, this is per applicant, per family member. So based on government fees, Spain would take the cake in this case. Let's say my end goal is not PR, but it's citizenship. Which country is better? Again, in Portugal, what we would be looking at is how long you've held a residency title. So once you've reached your 5 years, that's good enough. And over those 5 years, you only need to effectively spend 35 days in Portugal. So before the application is launched, this is the requirement you need to fulfill. Once again, full dual citizenship is allowed. Okay. Now, in Spain, we have 2 blocks of countries. So citizens of Ibero-American countries, and this includes Puerto Rico, the Philippines, Equatorial Guinea. A 2-year residency period is required, and absence periods of up to 3 months at a time are allowed. So 2 years, you need to effectively spend 6 months out of 12 in each one of those 2 years. Okay, so year 1, you spend 6 months. Year 2, you spend 6 months, and then you can lodge your citizenship application. Okay, other nationalities, so paragraph B, other nationalities, 10-year residency period is required. Periods of absence of up to 6 consecutive months at a time are allowed. So same thing. Each year, during those 10 years, you need to spend 6 months. Okay, so in each one of those 10 years, you need to spend 6 months in Spain. So winner, this would depend on 2 things. Number 1, nationality of origin, of course, and chance of relocation in Spain's case. So if you don't have any chance of relocation, then I would say, yes, Portugal is the best option for you because you just need to spend 14 days every 2 years. Okay, so no chance of relocation. Portugal wins this one. So short video regarding some of the highlights that Spain offers in terms of investment for business community, infrastructures, but also, of course, if you decide to live there, of course, food and the arts and science. So let's focus a little bit here on some statistics, but I will now pass on the baton back to Jamie and Diego. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Antonio.
Thank you so much, Antonio, for your synthesis, for your summary on all the highlights of the two programs. That was wonderful. I just wanted to give you some statistics on the Spanish Golden Visa program after that wonderful video. As you can see, the Spanish Golden Visa program ranks third top of the world, only after Panama and Australia. So it is basically the top European program in terms of numbers. And you will see on the next slide that these numbers have been consistent throughout the years. As you can see, already since 2015, the Spanish Golden Visa program is almost the first in Europe. So in 2015, it was still below Portugal. Portugal was winning the race in 2015. Still in 2016, Portugal ranked above the Spanish Golden Visa program in terms of applications, but very close to two countries. But already in 2017, Spain took the lead, and it has kept this way, very consistent, high number of applications, even during pandemic. As you can see, on year 2020, when we were already all of us suffering the consequences of COVID, the authorities kept on issuing golden visas in Spain, quite a decent number. And I can tell you that still today, 2022, though of course we do not have yet any statistics on 2022 or 2021, but the numbers are there, very, very consistent throughout time. In fact, you will see in the next slide further information about the number of applications depending on the several quarters since 2015. And this gives you a very specific idea on the fact that the Golden Visa program in Spain is here to stay. I know that many of you who are interested in Golden Visa programs always wonder, is this something that is going to stay for long? Well, you can see it has already been up for more than 7 years. And it's really very successful. And you can see that the applicants are from several nationalities, not only from Asia, of course, and from Southeast Asia, but a lot of applicants from Latin America and even Americans. You would be surprised that even Americans are now becoming very much interested on the Spanish, specifically the Spanish Golden Visa program. Though Antonio already highlighted the main conditions to apply for the Spanish Golden Visa, just a kind of reminder over here in this slide. So the three options, the purchase of a property with the threshold, that minimum 500K. Then, of course, you have the investment on bank deposits and the investment project. We will be delighted to guide you through our Madrid office where we are sitting today, through this different options, and if you want to know more about it, even the investment project, the business Golden Visa, you can ask later on. We're having a Q&A session that I'm sure will be very, very helpful to clarify any doubts you might have. Anyway, I'm going to pass it over again to Jamie, who can enlighten you a little bit more about what we're doing and the kind of properties that she and the rest of the team can showcase to you.
Thank you, Diego. So yeah, indeed, we've been very excited about some of the changes that's been taking place, and especially in Spain. I think the vibrancy of the investments and so on, it's really there. I think it was very exciting. I was actually down south in Alicante and also in Marbella, and just to check on some of our projects and also the progress of all these projects, because that's also what we do. Part of what we do is also to check on the progress and due diligence and so on before we promote specific projects. Moving on to the next slide as well. So we also have different projects, and what we will be doing in the next few other webinars is also to share a little bit more with people in terms of investments in the differing places, because I think most of us actually, as Asians, only know how to invest, they say, in the big cities, normally primarily Madrid and Barcelona. But after my trip here as well, I noticed the vibrancy, the returns are really in some of the cities such as like Marbella and Alicante. The returns has been really interesting, and there are a lot of activity and vibrancy that's happening in that side of Spain. Moving on, also, I wanted to share a little bit more about Marbella. I think Marbella, we are very excited. We had clients who we have promoted Marbella recently, as I mentioned this year, and they have actually personally visited some of these spots as well, and they are extremely happy with the investments. And I think what's really great was because this is winter and we were in Marbella, and yet there was still a huge demand in terms of accommodation. And I found out because actually Marbella is quite interesting because it serves not only the summer tourists, but also the winter tourists for golfing, because they have like about 60 golf courses that are located at the coast of Marbella that starts from Malaga all the way to Cadiz. So it's really amazing. And also one of the most expensive rentals. So investors, even if they're not interested in the golden visa, if it's just for investments, I think there's also something worth considering. Moving forward, the next slide also shows you that Marbella is also one of the top touristic destination. And also in the next slide, you will also be able to see why it's interesting in terms of rentals. And that's because there are very few hotels, and because it stretches, Marbella is a long coast, but of course, there are specific areas which are better hotspots to invest in, whether for people to actually have a holiday home or even for rentals. So what's interesting is that most of the rentals we know as well will bring about close to almost 10% returns, which actually, in my opinion, for a European standard, after having dealt with a lot of Portuguese properties and so on, I think having a 10% return on investment on properties is actually very, very interesting and definitely worth considering. And that's where we are here to be able to give an alternative consultancy on this. The other thing that's also quite interesting is the fact that I like Marbella being very international. And because of that, it attracts a lot of foreign investors from all over the world, and it is definitely a very pleasant environment and very welcoming when you see there are a lot of multi-cultured people around you. And of course, it's also Marbella is popular for all the celebrities, which is also very important. And even if like Djokovic, for example, as you can see, also lives in Marbella itself because of the wonderful weather. I mean, being there during winter showed me also that the weather was so great and why people continue to live there, move there, and it is definitely worth considering. The next slide actually just will share about our contact details. And I think what we will do is we'll have some questions from our clients that we would like to bring about. But more importantly, if you have any questions regarding both Portugal and the Spanish Golden Visa, we're more than happy to assist you. I'm actually based in Kuala Lumpur. These are my contact details together with our sales manager, Catherine. But if you are also interested, we especially in Manila, we will be making a trip to Manila end of this month as well for us to have a one-on-one consultancy. Do reach out to us and we can address some of your questions, because I also believe, being a Golden Visa holder myself, and having serviced more than 100 over families, I think it's important that you get a proper consultation on exactly what is actually suitable based on your relocation purposes, or is it a purpose of investment, and also your family dynamics and your family structure, and we can actually find the best option available for you. Now, I'm going to now open up the question and answer session. And I would like Antonio and Diego to address some of these questions. And Tommaso will also be addressing some of these questions from the property and investment, since we are here in Spain together. I'm going to start off firstly. I think the most important question that a lot of people wanted me to ask was this. So for those who were searching the Portuguese Golden Visa and initially interested, they were getting a bit worried because recently there was an announcement by the government to consider abolishing the program. Antonio, would you like to share some light on this particular announcement, and what do you think the clients should do about it?
Yes, well, there was just very recently a statement from the Portuguese Prime Minister during the Web Summit, which is a very well-known tech gathering in Portugal, which has been celebrated for a number of years now. And he was introducing the digital nomad visa. And at the time, there was a question from one of the reporters that prompted a statement regarding the Golden Visa, saying that it was under review, that all options are being considered, and that it might have fulfilled its goals at this stage. So obviously that left a great deal of people wondering what might be in store for the Portuguese Golden Visa in the future. Nevertheless, any changes, including, if that would be the case, the potential cancellation of the program, would not be implemented overnight. They would definitely have take a process, because obviously any piece of legislation would have to follow proper procedures, and once again this would take some time. So we would not be looking at this is my guess, but we would not be looking at any drastic changes, certainly not before 6 months, and it could even stretch through some calculations and other conversations which I've had with a number of colleagues and people and other different stakeholders in the program, and it could even stretch to 1 or 2 years. So essentially, whatever the timeline might be, it is not something that will just happen overnight, and people that might still be considering the Golden Visa program just need to be mindful that should they wish to proceed, this is the time to do it. Go ahead now. Once you're locked in, then that's it. You will not suffer from any retroactive effects of the cancellation of the program. So again, once you have made up your decision, then and if Portugal is your choice, this is still the time to do it.
And the next question for you, Diego, is it actually necessary to stay in Spain for the Golden Visa? I think a lot of people are always a little bit confused about this, right? Because that's the whole 2 year, or is it the 10 years, whatever, maybe. you can clarify a little bit, is there actually a stay requirement for the Spanish golden visa? Yeah.
That is indeed, Jamie, a very important question, because there is a bit of confusion. And though I think Antonio did a perfect explanation of it earlier, I don't mind readdressing this topic, because there are a lot of doubts coming from many clients. So you have to make the difference of what you want to do, what is that you want to achieve, what is your target. Because if you're only going to be a golden visa holder, there are no stay requirements in Spain. So holding the golden visa, as we saw earlier, allows you to live, to work, to study in Spain. So you can, yes, apply for the golden visa, stick to it as long as you wish, and without any stay requirements. You can keep on renewing it. But if your target, what you want to achieve, is different, if you want to go for citizenship, then yes, there are stay requirements. Depending on your nationality, as we saw, the number of years you need to achieve differ. It might be 2 or it might be 10. And throughout those years, you need to stay at least 6 months every year. So that is for citizenship. However, if you are not interested into citizenship, but permanent residency, the stay requirements are a bit higher, because throughout the 5 years you need to fulfill to become a permanent resident, you can only go away for 2 months every year. So that makes 10 months in total overall. But you see, there's no need to apply for PR. As I said a minute ago, you can just stick to the golden visa, and by sticking to the golden visa, you can come in and out as many times as you want, in and out of Spain, with no stay requirements. So again, let us know what are your intentions, what you want to do, what is your strategy, and we will be delighted to help you achieve that goal, either if it's through Portugal or Spain.
And then the next question we have actually is for Tommaso regarding the investments in Spain. Tommaso, I think a lot of people have been asking, what's the difference in terms of being, I mean, you've been in the industry for a long time, in the real estate industry in Spain. And do you think that it makes sense to actually buy brand new properties or refurbished properties in Spain? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, thank you, Jamie. Good afternoon to all. Well, from my experience, the brand new property makes sense for a foreign investment to invest and for a brand new property. I think for 2 reasons. The first of all, because refurbished property can be very old, so can have a lot of problems related to it. But the most important things, I think that for a brand new property, you can have more capital gains for the investment, because also you can buy an off-plan property and it could be expected at least 10% of oil completion. So the earlier that you buy and the earlier that you buy in process, the more gain that you can make at the end. So in my opinion, I can always recommend, depending on the location, but I always recommend the brand new property.
So sorry, Tom. So this is interesting. You were saying that if you buy off-plan property, there will almost immediately after completion at least a 10% capital gain. This figure is actually now happening in Spain. Any spot in particular in which you have seen this performance?
Well, as Jamie perfectly know, we just came back from Marbella, and we were talking about the many developers that we used to collaborate with. So they were strongly said that there is a high demand right now Marbella for properties, because also for vacation rental properties. I mean, because as you know, Diego, in Marbella, it's summer during 365 days, because you have two seasons: the summer season, normal, but also the winter season. So right now, with the golf tournament and a lot of tourism related to it, so the point is that the demand right now is more than the supply. So that's the reason why there is a really grow up demanding in Marbella.
Okay. So, okay, I think, Tommaso, the other question is also clients have been asking, right? What are our value add services that you can assist for clients who are interested to invest in Spain?
So that depends on the property, depends on the zone. We can consider every possibility and answer details for each process.
Okay, and also, can you share a little bit more also how you can assist with the management of the properties? Yeah.
Sorry, I don't understand the question.
Can you also explain how you can help to manage the properties for rental?
Sure. We can have depending on the zone, we have many companies which used to cooperate with us, so we can provide the service from starting from buying the property till the rental and manage the shorter rental and every services related to it. So we can offer full service for it.
All right then. So thank you so much to everyone for joining us at today's webinar. I think we have covered the pertinent points that we wanted to share about the Portuguese versus Spanish Golden Visa program. And I'm really delighted to be here in Madrid with Diego. And after having done the whole tour in Spain and looking at all also the investments together with Tommaso. I would like to thank you again for joining our webinar today, and especially also to our panel speakers, Antonio, Diego, and also Tommaso for joining us today. Do contact us if you have any more questions, and we'll be also sending you a copy of our recording just in case you have missed it, because I understand that a lot of people were busy with the elections and the voting. And terima kasih, thank you so much. And gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.